The FIA have once again started a war with the drivers, and this time they might have gone too far, resulting in furious F1 drivers. As this time, they are clamping down on everything drivers are saying during a weekend. Yes, they're effectively trying to change the way the drivers react and behave during race weekend. So much for free speech, right? But, according to FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the International Sporting Code's language has been changed to allow stewards to show strength in combating misuse and not directly silence the drivers. Ben Sulayem stated that research has found a direct link between bad remarks about officials and subsequent online hatred, and he acknowledged that the term of misconduct in the regulations has been amended to include measures to defend against this. Given the nature of sportspeople arguing against choices made by those in authority, and the public manner in which Formula One radio communications are transmitted in real time, the sport frequently broadcasts messages in which drivers or teams disagree with FIA stewards' rulings. When such arguments get more intense, FIA President Ben Sulayem has stated that investigations have revealed a direct link between drivers and team members speaking out against them, and an increase in online abuse. He also stated that a revision to the International Sporting Code's definition of misconduct-related language had been accepted, with members agreeing on the adjustment. Ben Sulayem wrote in a statement posted to his Instagram story, "As part of our ongoing fight against online abuse, recent investigations have shown that there is a direct link between negative comments from drivers and team members and increased hate directed at officials on social media." At the last World Motorsport Council, members approved a change to the definition of misconduct within the ISC, International Sporting Code, following incidents in which high-profile members of our sport have made statements towards officials that incite abuse. This change will ensure further support for the FIA officials and volunteers who dedicate their time to improving our sport, keeping it safe and fair. Our stewards must be prepared to show strength when combating this form of abuse, and they have my full support and the support of the International Sporting Code when making their decisions. I urge them to show that the FIA will not allow abuse of any kind within our sport. In the current edition of the ISC, the relevant part of the rules states that misconduct is the general use of language, written or verbal, gesture and/or sign that is offensive, insulting, coarse, rude, or abusive, and might reasonably be expected or be perceived to be coarse or rude, or to cause offense, humiliation, or to be inappropriate. This follows a series of situations in which drivers have not been bashful about expressing their opinions on stewards, marshals, and other drivers. Yuki Tsunoda of RB was recently fined $40,000, half of which was suspended until the conclusion of the season, for making what the FIA termed as inappropriate comments. The Japanese driver said, "These guys are fucking retarded," after Sauber's Guan Yu Zhou seemed to surge past of a queue of other cars in the pit lane. The statements were declared offensive and inappropriate, and violated Article 12.2.1k. Or the instance where Lewis Hamilton wanted to talk with FIA authorities after the steward stated that he could have done more to avoid the incident with Max Verstappen. I really was very surprised by the decision. I don't know who typed it up, but probably, yeah, that will be a question when I speak to them at some stage. Instances like this have been seen as degrading by the FIA. They want drivers to stop continuously questioning every decision the stewards make. Earlier this year, Alex Albon also caused a stir after the Australian GP, noting that the stewards are handing out punishments that mean nothing, undermining the governing body once again. This happened when Hülkenberg ended up earning a point for the team in 10th place, and while dealing with the media in Australia, Albon was still displeased with the situation, arguing that drive-through penalties would be more successful than time penalties. 5 to 10 seconds is still not really a punishing situation, especially when you're a top team, he said. You can easily pull out 10 seconds if you do it early enough in the race. Tyre degradation, generally around most tracks, can be 1 to 2 seconds a lap, so it only takes 5 laps to achieve it. Let's see how it goes, but I do think it needs a review. In the instance of Magnussen in Jeddah, the Williams driver felt that giving up the position was preferable to receiving a 10-second penalty. I know there's kind of been an incentive to leave it up to the teams and the drivers to decide if they need to give the position back, she said. But in such a clear-cut situation like Magnussen's maneuver, if you're forced to give the position back, that could also work. Ben Sulayem's recent statement show that the FIA are done messing around, and with the ever-increasing fan base, they don't want to risk being seen as the bad guy. What's your thoughts on that? Do you think it's fair, or should the FIA just acknowledge that these things happen? And how do you think the drivers will act after this? Will we still see them cursing over the radio during race weekends? But what exactly does the FIA do? Why are these drivers so mad at them all the time? Newcomers to Formula One may regularly hear references to a mysterious, seemingly powerful body known as the FIA, which is in charge of the sport's strategy, organization, and governance. While the US firm Liberty Media owns the commercial rights to the sport, a more true definition would be that Liberty Media leases the commercial rights from the FIA, which retains the rights to the Formula One Championship brand and regulations. The FIA is actively involved in the governing of several motorsports and competitions across the world, with Formula One being the pinnacle. Here are the important facts of Formula One's governing body. The FIA is the primary worldwide regulating organization for racing. Established in 1904 as the Association Internationale des Automobiles Clubs Reconnus, it organized Grand Prix racing in 1922 through its sporting delegation, the CSI, Commission Sportive Internationale. The European Drivers' Championship was founded in 1931 by the AIACR, and after World War II, the body changed its name to the FIA, with the sporting branch called FISA. The FIA established additional Grand Prix racing categories, including Formula 2 and Formula 1, and the current F1 World Championship debuted in 1950. The FIA's most important sports responsibility is to license and sanction Formula 1. The FIA creates a fair playing field for participants and ensures the sport is as safe as possible by developing rulebooks and providing qualified judges. If a dispute arises, the FIA can provide an independent way of resolution. The FIA, together with the Fédération Internationale de Motocyclisme (FIM), validates land speed record attempts. The FIA has 246 member organizations in 145 countries and 80 million members. Because of its widespread reach, the FIA and its clubs can actively educate and encourage members to behave responsibly and make ecologically smart decisions. The FIA's headquarters are in Place de la Concorde in Paris, with other offices in Geneva and Valerie. Its current president, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, was elected at the end of 2021. As a large worldwide organization, the FIA's structure is complex and split among its different responsibilities. The FIA's website provides a detailed overview of its governance structure. On the sports front, the FIA has lately changed its organization in respect to Formula One. Former Formula One sporting director Steve Nielsen has joined the FIA in a similar post, reporting to Nicolas Tombazis as single-seater director. Tombazis essentially manages Formula One on a daily basis, with President Mohammed Ben Sulayem taking a more hands-off approach. The FIA collaborates closely with Liberty Media to provide a thorough and fair championship over the course of a season, with one of their primary responsibilities being to detect and address flaws in the sport's governance. Top-level sports, such as Formula One, can provoke the most intense responses from athletes and fans alike, but this raw passion must be balanced by calm management, which is where the FIA comes in. And this is exactly why they want the drivers to calm down as things have escalated lately. Every year, the FIA regulates and adjudicates hundreds of events, offering regulatory expertise as well as an impartial sporting judicial system applicable to any sport. The association has also adopted the World Anti-Doping Agency Code to prevent the use of drugs in sports. At any Grand Prix, the FIA's cars can be seen at the top of the paddock, indicating their authority over all of the teams. The FIA supplies technical professionals to enforce the technical rulebook, for example, Joe Bauer as technical delegate, and race control officials, such as the race director job, now held by Niels Wittich, to guarantee that sporting regulations are obeyed throughout a Grand Prix. Throughout the weekend, race stewards are there to observe and enforce sports regulations, And media professionals are necessary to deal with on-site media, while also ensuring that the required drivers and team staff appear on television and talk to the media. But now they also want to control what the drivers are saying, for the FIA's own gain. What's your thoughts on all of that? Logical reasoning or damage control? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.